members of the Zccm Investment Holdings PLC, welcome to the 19th Annual General Meeting. My name is Loisa Mbata and I'm the Corporate Affairs Manager. At this point in time, we shall begin the meeting and I will hand over to the Company Secretary, Mr. Charles Mujumpi. Thank you.
Good morning, members, and good morning, everyone in attendance. Welcome to the 19th Annual General Meeting of the members of Zccm Investments Holdings. At this point, Mr. Kakenenwa Muyangwa, who is the board chairperson of Zccm Ih, is going to preside over this meeting. This is in compliance with Article 52 of the Articles of Association of Zccm Investments Holdings, which provides for the chairperson of the board to preside as chairperson at the general meeting of members. At this point, let me now invite the chairperson, Mr. Kakenenwa Muyangwa. Sir.
Good morning, members. I would like to call to order and have a verification of the quorum. I call upon the Company Secretary to confirm that the quorum has been constituted.
Chair, I can confirm that the quorum is present at this meeting.
The necessary quorum being present, I declare the meeting duly constituted and open, and welcome you to the 19th Annual General Meeting of the company. I have the following announcements to make. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I'm happy to welcome you to the 19th Annual General Meeting of the members of the company. The Board of Directors sincerely regret the delay in the issuance of the audited financial statements for the financial years ended 31st December 2021 and 31st December 2022. The delays in the finalization of the financial statement audit for the year 2021 was awaiting the completion of fair valuation of assets and liabilities related to the acquisition of 90% shares of Mopani Copper Mines PLC as at 31st March 2021. The fair valuation was required for incorporation in the 2021 financial statements as per international financial reporting standards. This exercise was completed during the first quarter of 2023. Furthermore, Zccm Ih's financial statements for the years 2021 and 2022 were nearing finalization and were expected to be approved by the board on 12th May 2023. However, the resignation of the board chairperson, the suspension of the company's shares trading on the London Stock Exchange, and the minority shareholders' media statements necessitated Zccm Ih's external auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, to request for an additional review of these developments and determine the potential risks as well as the impact on the audit process. PwC needed to engage its specialist team based in London to undertake a fresh review of the Zccm Ih 2021 financial statements. This process took longer than was expected. Shareholders are informed that efforts are being made to improve on completion of audit or financial statements in the future. Any queries relating to individual shareholder concerns will be handled after the AGM within this room. Registration of members present is being done at the entrance. We have also made provisions for online registration. I hope all members registered their names. Allow me now to take this opportunity to introduce to you Mr. Windu Matoka, representing the Industrial Development Corporation Limited, the 61.3% majority shareholder in Zccm Ih. Mr. Matoka has joined online. In addition, I hereby introduce to you Ms. Nakapoko Nalongwe, representing the government of the Republic of Zambia, GRZ, holder of a significant shares of 17.3% through the Minister of Finance as custodian. I acknowledge the presence of Mr. Patrick Chabwe, representing the National Pension Scheme Authority, with a shareholding of 15%. Mr. Chabwe has joined online. May I now also introduce the members of the Board of Directors of Zccm Ih present here today. All are non-executive directors except for the Chief Executive Officer. We have Mrs. Masitala Mushinga, non-executive director and chairperson of the Audit Committee. She has joined online. We have Mr. Philip Tosak, non-executive director and chairperson of the Investment Committee and a member of the Audit Committee. He's on my immediate right. We have Bishop John Mambo, non-executive director and a member of the Remuneration and Audit Committees. He's on my extreme right. Mr. Brian Nalishua, non-executive director and a member of the Investments and Audit Committees, also representing the majority shareholder, the IDC, is on the extreme left. We have Dr. Vibeti, executive director and the chief executive officer of Zccm Ih, on my left also. Apologies have been received from Mr. Muyangwa, non-executive director and a member of the Investments and Remuneration Committees, also representing NAPSA. Similarly, we have apologies from Mr. Moses Nyurenda, non-executive director and chairperson of the Remuneration Committee and member of the Investment Committee. In respect of the Management Committee, I have seated here with me on my immediate left, Mr. Charles Mujumpi, Company Secretary. I also have Mrs. Chilandu Sakala, Chief Financial Officer. The following have also joined us virtually: Mr. Lombe Mbalashi, Chief Legal Officer, Mr. Brian Musonda, Chief Investment Officer, Mr. Tisa Chama, Chief Technical Officer, and Ms. Mwaka Mwamulima, Risk Manager. The rest of the management team of Zccm Ih are seated in the front row, and I'll ask them to introduce themselves.
Good morning once again. My name is Lois Ambata, and I'm the Corporate Affairs Manager. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Shepard Mwanza. I'm the Chief Internal Audit Officer.
Good morning. My name is Betty Meleki. I'm Chief Human Resource and Administration Officer.
Good morning. My name is Mukuka Kangwa. I'm the Chief ICT Officer.
Good morning. My name is Gift Zulu. I'm the Procurement Manager.
In terms of apologies from shareholders, I have not received any apologies. Do we have any apologies from members who have been unable to attend the meeting? Okay, looks like we don't have any. We also have present in the meeting our sponsoring brokers, Pangea, led by Ms. Chipo Mambwe, and our transfer secretaries, CopSave Transfer Agents Limited, led by Mr. Setfree Nyapi. We also have representation from the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as the Lusaka Securities Exchange. I now hand over to the Secretary to inform the meeting of the proxies received and to read the notice convening the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. In view of time, I'll just read a few proxies that have been received, other than the ones that the chairperson has mentioned. We also have received a proxy from Barclays Bank, Zambia Staff Pension Fund, represented by Ms. Inutu Benguga. I also have a proxy from KCM Pension Trust Scheme, represented by Mr. Nasilele Ngumbi. Satunia Regina Pension Trust, again represented by Ms. Naslele Umbi. I also have received additional proxies from Mr. Jacques, who has appointed Mr. Tusak Felipe, as well as Mr. Michel, who has also appointed Mr. Tusak Felipe. I submit, Chair. In terms of the notice convening the meeting has been in the hands of the members within the period stipulated by the Articles of Association of the company, and it reads as follows. Notice is hereby given that the 19th Annual General Meeting of the members of Zccm Investments Holdings PLC will be held virtually and physically on Friday, 29th September 2023 at 10 hours at the Mulungushi International Conference Center, Kenneth Kaunda Wing, Banquet Hall number 3, here in Lusaka. The rest of the details are contained in the AGM pack that was circulated to the members. I now hand over back to the Chair.
Thank you. In terms of the business of the meeting, just some announcement about the housekeeping arrangement. The voting on resolutions will be done via an electronic system. Our transfer agent, COPSEF Zambia, will provide detailed guidance on the procedure for electronic voting before each resolution is passed. Questions will be allowed before tabling the resolution. Now, we can turn to agenda item number 1, approval of minutes of the 18th Annual General Meeting held on 9th December 2022. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the 18th Annual General Meeting that was held on the 9th December 2022. Members should note that the minutes start from page 3 to page 12 of the AGM pack. Are there any corrections or amendments to the minutes? Starting with page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, and page 12. Thank you. The resolution relating to the minutes is as follows: that the minutes of the 18th Annual General Meeting of the company held on 9 December 2022 be and are hereby approved as a true and correct record of the proceedings of the meeting. I now call upon Mr. Windu Matoka, to propose the resolution.
I propose that we adopt the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I invite Ms. Nakapoko Nalongwe to second the resolution.
I second the adoption of the minute, Chair.
Thank you very much. Are there any matters arising from the minutes? Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. page 11, and page 12. In the absence of any other matters arising, we'll move to agenda item number 2. The next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the extraordinary general meeting that was held on 31st March 2023. Members should note that the minutes start from page 17 to page 21 of the AGM pack. Are there any corrections or amendments to the minutes? Starting with page 17, page 18, page 19, page 20, and page 21. Thank you. The resolution relating to the minutes is as follows: that the minutes of the extraordinary general meeting of the company held on 31st March 2023 be and are hereby approved as a true and correct record of the proceedings of the meeting. I now call upon Mr. Windu Matoka to propose the resolution.
I propose, Chair.
Thank you. I invite Ms. Nakapoko Nalungwe to second the resolution.
I second, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any matters arising from the minutes? Page 17, page 18, page 19, page 20, and page 21. In the absence of any matters arising, we'll move to agenda item number 3. The next item on the agenda is to receive the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the directors and the auditors. I invite the Chief Financial Officer, Mrs. Sakala, to make a presentation highlighting the major items of significance regarding the 2021 audited financial statements.
Good morning, members. Should I say all protocols observed? I'll be presenting the 2022 and 2021 financial highlights. As usual, I'll start with the presentation with a disclaimer. The purpose of this presentation is to provide a general understanding of the business of the company and not for investment decision. And this representation contains forward-looking information which is subject to known and unknown risk. The outline of the agenda for the presentation, I'll take you through the financial highlights, which is agenda item number 1 for 2021 and 2022. The Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Vibeti, will take you through agenda item number 2, proposed dividend and performance of the Zccm Ih shares on the 3 stock exchange. He will also take you through agenda item number 3, key development highlights, and agenda item number 4, strategic highlights and outlook. Just an overview. The 2021 and 2022 financial performance results are in 2 parts. There is the group and company. The group results is the combination of subsidiaries and investee companies, and the company result is the standalone company as the Zccm Ih results. Details of the financial statements are contained in the annual reports that have been provided. I'll talk to significant developments that influence the operations of the results of the company. This slide is showing the group financial highlights. The group recorded increased revenues from 2020 of 174 million kwacha to 14.4 billion kwacha in 2021 and 11.9 billion kwacha in 2022 on account of acquiring Mopani, which accounts for an average of 98% of the group revenue. Despite the recorded growth in revenue in both financial years, the group moved from recording a profit in 2020 of 2.2 billion kwacha to a loss of 12.6 billion kwacha in 2021 and 3.8 billion kwacha in 2022. In 2021 particularly, the recorded loss of 12.5 billion kwacha was an account of a one-off impairment of goodwill on acquisition of Mopani amounting to 14.9 billion kwacha, which is equivalent to $871 million. Particularly in 2022, performance was impacted by the underperformance of Mopani, resulting in a loss of 3.7 billion kwacha, equivalent to $222 million. Mopani as a company recorded a loss of 5 billion kwacha, equivalent to $206 million. More details on Mopani's performance will be highlighted by the Chief Executive Officer in his presentation of key portfolio developments. I'll now move on to the company financial highlights. The company has recorded increased profits for the past 3 years due to dividends that was received from investee companies, particularly Kansanshi paid special dividends. These investee companies together contributed a total dividend of 4.8 billion kwacha in 2022 and 954 million kwacha in 2021. I'll now move on to talk about the group financial position highlights. In this slide, you will note that the financial position of the company demonstrates growth in terms of assets and liabilities. This is mainly on account of acquisition of the 90% stake in Mopani on 31st March 2021. Particularly, the group total assets increased from 23.8 billion kwacha, equivalent to $1.1 billion in 2020 to 48.9 billion kwacha, equivalent to 2.8 billion kwacha in 2022. Mopani accounts for over 50% of group assets. Equally, we have seen a substantial increase in terms of our liability position, both for non-current as well as current liabilities. And this was influenced by the borrowing of 33.1 billion kwacha, equivalent to 1.5 billion kwacha by Mopani from Grenco. The group's equity and reserve reduction from 2020 to 2022 by 66% is on account of group losses recorded in 2021 as well as 2022 financial year, which I earlier spoke to. Financial highlights at company financial position. At company level, the assets position increased by 6% from 23.8 billion kwacha recorded in 2020 to 25.1 billion kwacha recorded in 2022 on account of increased current assets recorded in 2022 from 1.2 billion kwacha in 2020 to 5.7 billion kwacha in 2022, which was mainly influenced by increased dividends received from investee companies in 2021 as well 2022 financial year. Looking at the performance of our investment in associates, the group continues to record positive share of profit in 2021 of 3 billion kwacha and in 2022 of 1.6 billion kwacha due to improved investee companies' performance. This slide marks the end of my presentation, and the Chief Executive Officer will take you through the rest of the presentation. Thank you for your attention.
In my presentation this morning, I'll give highlights of the proposed dividend for 2021 and 2022 financial years, followed by Zccm IH's share price performance on the 3 stock exchanges. I will also present key developments within the Zccm IH portfolio, after which I'll give a high-level summary of our strategic, transformative agenda and outlook. The declaration of the dividend is guided by the company policy, which is disclosed under page 12 of the 2022 financial statements. The board of Zccm IH approved a total dividend payout to the shareholders equivalent to 336 million kwacha in 2021, representing a share price of 2 kwacha and 9 ngwe per share, and 387 million kwacha in 2022, representing a share price of 2 kwacha 41 per share. The dividend payouts demonstrate significant increases compared to the 2020 dividend payout of 85 million kwacha. The dividend yield for the 2022 financial year end is 6.43% on the Lusaka Stock Exchange, price of 37.98, compared to the 5.5% dividend yield in 2021 at the same share price. If we take a look at the Zccm IH share price performance on the primary market, the Lusaka Securities Exchange, you will note a 2.1% decrease in the share price in 2021 from 38 kwacha 80 at the beginning of the year to 37 kwacha 98 at the close of the same year. At the end of both financial years, 2021 and 2022, the market capitalization remained at 5.69 billion kwacha, with recorded decreases in dollar terms due to the adverse movement in the exchange rate against the US dollar. In terms of trading volumes, approximately 14,000 shares traded during the year ended 31st December 2022, compared to 19,000 shares which traded during the year ended 31st December 2021, and compared to 4,000 shares traded during the 2020 financial year, representing approximately 23.8% decrease in a share trade from 2021 to 2022. On the secondary market in Paris, the Euronext Access, the Zccm share price performance during both periods had a high of €1.60 and a low of 77 euro cents. The share price closed the 2022 financial year end at €1.40 from 94 euro cents at the end of the previous year. The market capitalization on this exchange was 14.87 million euros as at the close of 2022, which was up from 9.98 million euros at the close of 2021, representing a 49% increase in the market capitalization over the 2 reporting periods. In terms of the share trade, approximately 1.2 million shares traded during the year ended 31st December 2022, and 873,000 shares traded during the year ended 31st December 2021. This represented a 32% increase in the trade on the Euronext exchange between 2021 and 2022. The other secondary market on which the shares are listed is the London Stock Exchange, and on this, the Zccm Ih share price during both periods had a high of $1.65 and a low of 72 US cents. The share price closed the 2021 and 2022 financial year ends at $1.65. In terms of share trades, no shares were traded over the reporting period. The market capitalization was at $0.48 million US dollars as at the close of both financial years 2021 and 2022. I will now move on to the next segment to look at the key developments within the Zccm Ih portfolio. In this snapshot, it shows our subsidiaries, investees, and associate companies. The three highlighted companies in red are earmarked for divestment as part of our strategic aim of streamlining our portfolio to remain with core mining and energy-related assets. We have already embarked on the necessary steps towards achieving this group rationalization program with the aim of optimizing our portfolio. We will now be focusing on mining, energy, and mining-related business opportunities going forward. Allow me to give you a brief highlight on some of our portfolio companies. As of the 31st of December 2022, Mopani Copper Mines, MCM, recorded revenues of 11.85 billion kwacha, compared to 14.2 billion kwacha in 2021, which represents a 16% decline in kwacha terms and a 21% decline in dollar terms. Further, Mopani recorded a net loss of 5 billion kwacha compared to a profit of 77 billion kwacha in 2021. In terms of production, this fell by 17% to 73,000 tons of finished copper from 87,000 tons in the previous year, 2021. During the reporting periods under review, Zccm Ih engaged Rothschilds & Company to find a strategic equity partner for Mopani and to further support the mine with corporate guarantees. If I may move on to Zambia Gold. As at December 2022, mining activities remained suspended at Kasenseli in Murilunga, hence no gold sales were recorded. This compared to 62 kilograms of gold that had been sold in 2021. Zambia Gold recorded a revenue of 30,000 kwacha as at the end of December 2022, compared to 68 million kwacha in 2021. The company, however, continued with exploration activities in other licensed areas in partnerships with third parties and has launched further value addition initiatives and has exhibited on various platforms. We had minimal operations due to non-functioning kilns, in which the main kiln, VK1, was affected by the collapse of its refractory linings, while the VK2 kiln had challenges with its fuel systems. During this period, Zccm Ih provided working capital to support the company, part of which went to fix the VK2 kiln, which is now operational, although production and quality stability are yet to be attained. In terms of revenue, this declined by 78% from 119 million kwacha in 2021 to 26 million kwacha, with a recorded loss increasing from 40 million kwacha in 2021 to 90 million kwacha in 2022. Allow me to move on to Invest Trust Bank, whose revenue declined by 12% from 170 million kwacha in 2021 to 150 million kwacha as at the end of December 2022, with a net loss of 2.6 million kwacha as compared to a profit of 15 million kwacha in 2021. The decline is primarily due to the inadequate capital which has hampered loans and advances by the company. As part of the group rationalization process, Zccm has initiated a search for a new strategic equity partner at Invest Trust Bank in an effort to recapitalize the bank as well as to streamline its operations and upgrade its technology infrastructure. At Konkola Copper Mines, KCM, as at the end of 31st December 2022, KCM continued to be under the control of the provisional liquidator due to the ongoing legal dispute with Vedanta. Production remained constrained due to legal challenges, capital constraints, and resource underdevelopment. The smelter in the main relied on third-party concentrates to run due to the underdevelopment of the key Konkola deep mining project. Moving on to Mesenge, ETS, Environmental and Technical Services Limited, the company's revenue declined to 4.93 million kwacha as at the end of 2022 from 17 million kwacha in 2021 due to limited business outside of Zccm Ih Agm. However, its net profit increased by 75% from 2.5 million kwacha in 2021 to 4.4 million kwacha as at the end of 2022. During the reporting period, Zccm Ih Agm recapitalized the company to the extent of 45 million kwacha as the company continues to implement its strategic turnaround and marketing plan. If I may move on to Kariba Minerals, another one of our subsidiaries, it recorded a decrease of 12% in revenues from 26 million kwacha in 2021 to 23 million kwacha in 2022, with a net loss of 5 million kwacha and a profit of 7 million kwacha in 2022 and 2021 respectively. Production of amethyst, however, increased by 44% from 1,000 tons in 2021 to 1,500 tons in 2022. Further, Kariba completed the construction of its retail outlet at the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport in Lusaka, which is now a key trading platform for its polished products and its enhanced value addition initiatives. Musha milling is of interest to the members because as at the 31st of December 2022, the company was insolvent with an equity position of a negative 6.5 million kwacha. The company had posted a net loss of 16 million kwacha in 2022 compared to a loss of 48 million kwacha in 2021. As stated, Zccm Ih Agm is in the process of divesting from this asset, with the liquidation process having been initiated in 2022. If I may move on to another asset, Kabundi Resources Limited, wholly owned by Zccm Ih Agm, its revenues rose to 13.6 million kwacha in 2022 from 5.6 million kwacha in 2021, with a net profit of 5.5 million kwacha compared to a loss of 1.9 million kwacha in 2021. The company's production decreased by 57% from 61,000 tons in 2021 to 26,000 tons of manganese in 2022, owing mainly to the depletion of manganese ore reserves from its main mining pit. Kabundi, however, has made progress with Phase 2, which has now included starting its own mining and is conducting additional exploration activities in its licensed area. This has been made possible in this period through additional funding that has been provided to it by Zccm Ih Agm. On this slide, I wish to start with Mamba Collieries, whose revenues increased to 4.75 billion kwacha, compared to 3.96 billion kwacha in 2021. The company recorded a profit of 1.5 billion kwacha in 2022 from a loss of 222 million kwacha in 2021. Further, a consent award was granted to it by the courts for ZESCO to pay it $447 million against its total debt of $578 million at the end of 2022. In addition, $60 million was granted to it as a discount, and another $70 million was granted, which ZESCO would pay as VAT directly to ZRA. Key terms of the agreement include that $10 million will be paid no later than the 31st of December 2022, and $20 million to be paid by the end of March 2023, and the remainder by April 2023. Moving on to Kansanshi. As at the end of 2022, copper production had declined to 146,000 tons from 202,000 tons in 2022. Similarly, gold production fell to 109,000 ounces from 128,000 ounces in 2021 because of the declining ore grades. The company had posted revenues of 25.9 billion kwacha in 2022, which was down from 39 billion kwacha in 2021, and a net profit of 2.6 billion in 2022 from 12 billion in 2021. Its S3 expansion program is scheduled and in fact has commenced in 2023, which will ameliorate the ore grade deterioration. Further, Zccm Ih and FQM reached an agreement in December 2022 to convert Zccm Ih's dividend right to a 3.1% royalty over the life of mine. Kansanshi declared and paid dividends amounting to $1.3 billion compared to $184 million in 2021. Lastly, we take a look at the Copperbelt Energy Corporation, whose revenues were 6.3 billion kwacha in 2022, slightly off from $6.7 billion in 2021, with a recorded profit of 1.68 billion in 2022, which is up from 1.0 billion kwacha in 2021. My apologies, all these figures are in kwacha, so I'll say them again. Revenue was 6 billion kwacha in 2022 from 6.7, and the recorded profit was 1.68 billion kwacha from 1 billion kwacha in 2021. The bulk supply agreement between CNC and ZESCO that expired on the 31st of March 2020 was renewed on the 7th of April 2022, thus removing a lot of uncertainty surrounding the company. CEC declared and paid a dividend of $50 million in 2022, with Zccm receiving $10 million as compared to $9 million in 2021. If I may move on to our strategy and transformative agenda as we go forward. We have 2 years into the 2023 to 2026 revised strategic plan. We continue to work towards maximizing shareholder value and return. Key of our value chain drivers for the strategic period include, among other things, developing alternative revenue streams that are more predictable and consistent, commodity diversification to include critical minerals such as cobalt, manganese, and lithium, nickel, as well as precious minerals such as gold. We also move forward in supporting subsidiary companies to improve their productivity and profitability, and we will continue to divest from non-core mining assets and focus on energy and mining-related assets. We will continue to ensure company operational and financial performance. Our staff remain a critical component of the success of the company and drive the company's growth, as well as maintain a high-performance culture in an enabling environment. Our strategic ethos can be summarized in the 3 key narratives: to be focused, to expand, as well as to sustain.
We want to be focused on critical minerals to include other minerals we have not looked at seriously in the past, such as cobalt, gold, manganese, and other base metals, gemstones such as amethyst that we have already, industrial minerals such as limestones and phosphates, as well as rare earth minerals. Zccm intends to expand by developing the mineral sector across the value chain and reducing its dependency on copper through commodity diversification into other minerals and revenue to produce streams for the benefit of the company and the country at large. In terms of sustainability, we seek to maximize value from both greenfield and brownfield projects in a sustainable manner, which will underpin our investments.
Thank you very much, CFO and CEO, for that presentation. I now invite Ms. Charity Mulenga to present the audit report for the 2021 and 2022 financial statements on behalf of PricewaterhouseCoopers, the company's external auditors.
Good morning. All protocols observed. I'll write on those protocols. So I will just read out our opinions for both 2021 and 2022 and just highlight a few areas because I'll take the opinions, the entire audit report as read. So to start with, for 2021, our opinion says, in our opinion, the consolidated financial statements of Zccm Investment Holdings PLC, the company and its subsidiaries together, the group, give a true and fair view of the consolidated financial position of the group as at 31 December 2021 and its consolidated financial performance and its consolidated cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with international financial reporting standards as issued by International Accounting Standards, ISB, and the requirements of the Zambia Companies Act and the Securities Act 2016 of Zambia. We have there in terms of what we audited, which was the primary financial statements for both consolidated as well as separate, as well as the notes. Another aspect that I would like to also highlight is the key audit matters. The requirements for listed entities is that we are required to, as from our judgment, what we determined to be areas where we spent most significant time in terms of the audit. So we highlighted on there two areas, the business combination with the Mopani transaction. So we highlight in there and reference it to note 23, where the detail of the transaction is. And then we also highlight in there what audit procedures we actually performed. So there's a whole a listing of the procedures that we performed on that particular transaction itself, which was the most significant. Then the second one in the 2021 is the other area is we spend a lot of audit effort on the valuation of non-current assets. So this is regarding the property, plant and equipment, investments in associates, and financial assets. Again, we refer to Note 4, Note 24, and Note 25, where the detail is, and we have also highlighted the different procedures that we did perform. Then the last area that I would like to highlight as well is that we have also a report on other legal requirements, legal and other regulatory requirements. So we are required to, as auditors, to give our opinion on Section 259(3), Section 8, Section 259(b), and then also Section 250. These are with regards to relationships that, from our perspective, whether we have any interests. The other section is whether we are aware of any serious breaches for the group and for the company in terms of corporate governance principles. And then we are also required from a Section 250 to comment on regarding whether there have been any loans that are that were taken out by the company officers or anyone within the group or company that we must highlight. And in this respect, there is nothing that we have to report. So from that perspective, we have no matters to highlight. They're both in both areas. We're able to report that everything was done in accordance with the guidance. I'll then proceed to 2022. Similarly, for 2022, I'll read that out as well. In our opinion, the consolidated financial statements of Zccm Ih as a company and of the group give a true and fair view of the consolidated financial position of the group as at 31 December 2022 and its consolidated financial performance and its consolidated cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with international financial reporting standards as issued by the International Accounting Standards Board and requirements of the Companies Act 2017 of Zambia and the Securities Act 2016 of Zambia. Again, in the opinion there, we refer to the consolidated and separate financial statements for 2022 as well as the notes. I'll also again highlight what were the areas of significant areas in 2022. In there, we only had one matter as a key audit matter, and this refers to the valuation again of non-current assets, which is the property, plant, and equipment investment in associates and financial assets. So again, this was the only area that was the significant audit attention that we made because of the significance of the numbers. And then finally, again, we are required to report as well on the Companies Act of 2017, and similarly to 2021, it is the same subsections. And in respect of the foregoing requirements, we have no matters to report. And with that, we complete our audit report from us as PwC as auditor. Thank you.
Besides the highlights given by our CFO, Mrs. Sakala, and the presentation by the CEO also, Dr. Vibeti, and the audit reports presented by Ms. Charity Mulenga, I will take the 2021 financial statements and reports and the 2022 financial statements and reports as read. Before these are adopted, I invite questions from shareholders, and the same will be answered by Dr. Vibeti, the CEO, and Mrs. Sakala, the CFO. As this is a members' meeting, I emphasize that only shareholders are allowed to comment or ask questions. As you comment or ask questions, kindly introduce yourself and which town or country you are from. And questions should be precise, and shareholders are reminded that due consideration should be given to avoid delaying the process of the meeting. So the question should be specifically on the two sets of audited financial statements for 2021 and 2022.
My name is Richard Sikazwe from Lusaka. My question is on the Zambia Gold company. I want to just find out from you what is happening at Kasenseri Gold Mine, since from the report you've stated that it's been in operation. And so I want to find out how and what measures are being done so that this company can be sustained in view of the workers and the machinery that is already on site. And then secondly, on the Euronext exchange, from the CEO's report, we note that there was increased share activities there. I want to find out whether those share activities resulted into capital investment into Zccm Ih, or it was just a movement. Thank you.
CEO and CFO.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the member. In terms of Zambia Gold at Kasenseli, the operations at Kasenseli remain closed by order of the Ministry of Mines, which closed them pursuant to the laws of the Republic of Zambia. In order to have the mine reopened, Zccm Ih and Zambia Gold is working on resolving all the disputes around the shareholdings at Kasenseli, as well as obtaining consent to return to the area from the relevant authorities. I'm happy to report that progress has been made, and we are close to a settlement with one of the parties affected, as well as obtaining the necessary approvals to go back and effect the remedial measures which led to the closure of the mine by the Ministry of Mines. In terms of the Euronext exchange, the activity there was purely trading activities by both buyers and sellers of shares, and it has not led to any direct investment into Zccm Ih. Thank you.
Chair, I can see a hand from Mr. Windu Matoka, and we do have some questions from other shareholders. Mr. Windu Matoka.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. From my end, the CEO's presentation was on and off. I think I'm experiencing some challenges with my internet connectivity. I just have a question on Mopani. I would like to find out what progress has been made in terms of pursuing the engagement of an equity partner to sustain the operations. Thank you.
In terms of Mopani Copper Mine, the equity process has proceeded well. Potential equity partners have been identified, due diligences have been conducted, and now a decision is likely to be made in the near future on the selection of the preferred bidder by the government of the Republic. Thank you. If I may answer this very question here, which is asking when will you get rid of non-core businesses? And the question is bank. I'm sure this refers to Invest Trust Bank. The process to find a strategic equity partner is underway. Two potential partners have been identified. Due diligences have been conducted on both of them, as well as due diligences by the Bank of Zambia, because this is part of a regulatory process. So I believe that in 2023, we will be able to announce a successful bidder for our stake, not all of our stake, in Invest Trust Bank. Thank you. The next question.
Mopani made huge losses according to the last financial results and turned into a bottomless pit. What is the current daily loss?
Thank you. So the losses at Mopani are averaging about 31 to 32 million kwacha a month at present. This equates to about $1 million a day.
What is the shortlist of investors for Mopani? What are the criteria to select the best offer?
So the shortlist is about 5 companies, and the criteria is several criteria, about 5 or 6 criteria. I may mention some of them. It includes, first of all, the financial ability or the capability to inject money, the kind of money to be injected into the asset. It also includes the mining expertise and experience, particularly as Mopani has got some challenging features, such as it is a deep underground mine. It has deep underground mining operations. It is also an old mine. Parts of the Mopani group are close to 100 years old now, if you can think of places like Nkana and so on. So the ability or the demonstrated experience in such difficult assets is a key criteria. Another key criteria is their activity in areas in which they work. For example, with regards to ESG,
demonstrated credentials in this arena. So these are some of the major criteria, as well as the ability to close the transaction. So the legal things that have to happen before such an investor would be able to enter into the asset. For some bidders, it is not a difficult thing, but for others, they may require extensive processes such as permissions from their governments and so on. So it's a multiple list of criteria, and on the short list, we have 5 credible companies that have demonstrated the ability to be in the space where there could be a credible SEP for the asset.
The next question, if a new investor come on board for Mopani, will you implement royalty to be sure to get benefits from the mine?
So as we've just mentioned, the mine is losing $1 million a day, and this is the first priority, to stem the bleeding, to stabilize the operations, and then followed by injecting capital to be able to build up the production to levels at which profits can now become sustainable. So royalty arrangements are not being contemplated at this point. They are actually premature because no potential investor will be able to negotiate with certainty when it is not known fully at this point the full extent of the capex to bring up the mine to a point where it is sustainable and profits can be foreseen into the future.
The next question, through the chair, is on Vedanta. The question is, as Vedanta always tried to fool us and prevent further issues, is there a plan for Zccm to negotiate, as for Mopani, a royalty deal to be sure that Zccm and Zambia get benefits of KCM restart?
Thank you. At Vedanta, since the announcement of the return, the agreements are being concluded, and key to these agreements, which will ensure the behavior of Vedanta and the realizability of profits to Zccm, are the implementation agreements and the shareholders agreements. These are in the process of being finalized, and it is through these agreements, which are subject to conclusion, that Zccm is taking the necessary steps to ensure that when KCM becomes profitable, Zccm will be paid its share of the profits.
The next question is from Barry and reads, as regards KCM, how much will Zccm Ih finally have to pay for this episode of the illegal takeover of the company by Zccm Ih under pressure from the GRZ? This is Barry Michael from France.
So since the liquidation of KCM and the appointment of the official receiver, Zccm Ih has supported KCM to various extents, including providing guarantees. Some of the support is going to be returned to KCM on the resumption of operations by Vedanta, and it is the conclusion of the agreements that will enable Zccm now to hand over the asset to Vedanta for it to carry out the mining, which will bring the company back to profitability.
Chair, those are some of the questions that have come through so far.
Now, we have 2 resolutions. The first one relates to the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the directors and the auditors. And the resolution is that the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the directors and the auditors, be and are hereby received and adopted. The second resolution relates to the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2022, and it's that the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2022, together with the reports of the directors and the auditors, be and are hereby received and adopted. I now request Mr. Windu Matoka to propose to the 2 resolutions. And I invite Mr. Patrick Chabwe to second the resolutions.
Thank you, Chair. I propose.
The Chair seconded.
Okay, thank you very much. As indicated earlier, the resolutions will be voted on at the end. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the final dividend of Zambian Kwacha 2.09 per share. The board has recommended a total dividend payout equivalent to 336 million Kwacha. I invite the CEO. Once approved by this meeting, the dividend will be payable to members registered in the books of the company at the close of business on Friday, 20 October 2023, and the payment date shall be on and or about Monday, 23rd October 2023. The resolution related to the approval of the dividend is as follows: that the shareholders of the company hereby resolve that a final dividend of 2.09 kwacha per share recommended by the directors be and is hereby approved. The dividend be payable to members registered in the books of the company at the close of business on Friday, 20th October 2023. Further, that the payment date be on or about Monday, 23rd October 2023. I now call upon Mr. Windu Matoka to propose the resolution.
I wish to propose.
Thank you. I invite Mr. Patrick Chabwe to second the resolution.
Chair, I second the resolution.
Thank you. Again, as stated earlier, the resolution will be voted on at the end. We proceed to agenda item number 6 to approve the final dividend for the year ended 31st December 2022. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the final dividend of 2.41 kwacha per share. The board has recommended a total dividend payout equivalent to 387 million kwacha. Once approved by this meeting, the dividend will be payable to members registered on the books of the company at the close of business on Friday, 20 October 2023, and the payment date shall be on or about Monday, 23rd October 2023. The resolution is as follows: that the shareholders of the company hereby resolve that a final dividend of 2.41 kwacha per share recommended by the directors be and is hereby approved. The dividend be payable to members registered in the books of the company at the close of business on Friday, 20th October 2023. Further, that the payment date be on or about Monday, 23rd October 2023. I now call upon Mr. Windu Matoka to propose the resolution.
Thank you once again, Chair, and I wish to propose.
Thank you. I invite Ms. Nakapoko Nalungwe to second the resolution. Okay, thank you. As stated earlier, the resolution will be voted on at the end. We proceed to item 7. The next item on the agenda is the ratification of the appointment of auditors of the company and authorization of the directors to fix their remuneration. PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, offer themselves for reappointment as external auditors of the company for the financial year ended 31st December 2022. The resolution relating to the appointment and remuneration of the auditors is that the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, as external auditors for the financial year ended 31st December 2022 be and is hereby ratified. Further, that the directors be authorized to fix the auditor's remuneration. I now call upon Mr. Windu Matoka to propose the resolution.
The resolutions are proposed, Chair.
Thank you. I invite Ms. Nakapoko Nalongwe to second the resolution. Okay. Thank you. The resolution will be voted on at the end. Agenda item number 8. The next item on the agenda is the ratification of the appointment of auditors of the company and authorization of the directors to fix their remuneration. Following the successful completion of the 2021 and 2022 financial audits, Zccm Ih has commenced a tender process to engage an independent external auditor for the company to provide external audit services for the financial year ending 31st December 2023. This process is being undertaken in line with the Public Procurement Act as regulated by the Zambia Public Procurement Authority and is expected to be completed by 31st October 2023. The resolution relating to the appointment and remuneration of the auditors is that the directors of the company be authorized to appoint external auditors for the financial year ending 31st December 2023. Further, that the directors be authorized to fix the auditor's remuneration. In addition, the details of the appointment should be made available at the next meeting of the members of the company. I now call upon Mr. Windu Matoka to propose the resolution.
I propose, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I invite Ms. Nakapoko Nalongwe to second the resolution.
I second, Chair.
Thank you. Agenda item number 9. The next item on the agenda is the ratification of the appointment of non-executive directors to the Zccm Ih board. Mr. Kakeneno Muyangwa was appointed board chairperson following the resignation of Ms. Dolly Kabanda, while Mrs. Masitala Mushinga was appointed non-executive director following the resignation of Mr. Gregory Kabwe. The brief profiles of the two non-executive directors were circulated to the shareholders and will be taken as read. The resolution relating to the ratification of this appointment is that the appointment of Mr. Kakeneno Muyangwa and Mrs. Masitala Mushinga as non-executive directors on the Zccm Ih board on 5th May 2023 and the 6th March 2023 respectively be and is hereby ratified. I now call upon Mr. Windu Matoka to propose the resolution.
Thank you, Chair. I propose.
Thank you. I invite Ms. Nakapoko Nalongwe to second the resolution.
Second, Chair.
Thank you. Agenda item number 10. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the shareholders of Zccm Ih for the company to issue corporate guarantees in relation to group capital requirements to a limit of $200 million. The CEO, Dr. Vibeti, will make a short presentation on this agenda item. Thereafter, shareholders will have an opportunity to ask questions.
Zccm Ih is requesting a general mandate from shareholders to provide up to $150 million in corporate guarantees for Mopani Copper Mines working capital and $50 million to support other companies in the Zccm Ih group. Most banks require corporate guarantees from Zccm Ih as a condition precedent to providing working capital facilities to MCM and other companies within the Zccm Ih group. MCM requires about 200 million US dollars in working capital facilities to sustain its current operations. Zccm Ih has a net exposure of over 1.62 billion US dollars in corporate guarantees to Mopani Copper Mines, of which 1.56 billion US dollars is in favor of Glencore and about 48 million US dollars is in favor of financial institutions that have provided working capital facilities to Mopani Copper Mines. Current challenges with providing guarantees. The Zccm Ih articles provide for a total borrowing limit of 1 billion US dollars for the directors of the company, above which special resolutions should be passed by shareholders for any further debt acquisition. Authority for this borrowing was given by the shareholders at the extraordinary general meeting held on 30 March 2021. The Lusaka Stock Exchange listing rules require that transactions with a consideration of 25% or more as a percentage of the market capitalization of the company are supposed to be approved by shareholders, while those between 5 and 25% require a corporate announcement to be made. This makes it impractical for Zccm Ih to respond urgently to the needs of investees, given the regulatory requirements it has to meet before providing the requisite guarantees. The current corporate guarantee exposure is as follows. The major investee company is Mopani Copper Mines PLC, with a total amount of 1.7 billion US dollars. Minor one is Konkola Copper Mines with an amount of 10 million US dollars, giving us a total of 1.712,260 billion US dollars. In conclusion, this proposal provides flexibility to Zccm Ih as an investments holding company to support companies within the Zccm Ih group where need arises, given the sensitive nature of the mining industry. Zccm Ih is therefore seeking a general mandate from the shareholders to allow Zccm Ih to extend corporate guarantees to financial institutions to facilitate the issuance of credit facilities to MCM and other companies within the Zccm Ih group to the amount of 200 million United States dollars.
Thank you, CEO. The resolution relating to the approval of the shareholders of Zccm Ih for the company to issue a corporate guarantee or corporate guarantees in relation to group capital requirements to a limit of 200 million US dollars is that the directors of the company be and are hereby authorized to issue corporate guarantees to support group capital requirements up to a maximum total of 200 million US dollars. I now call upon Mr. Windu Matoka to propose the resolution.
Chair, before I propose, I had two questions for the CEO, if you allow me to.
Please go ahead.
The first one is we would like to know how the engagement of a strategic equity partner will impact on the need and limit of the corporate guarantee, considering that Zccm Ih might be diluted to a minority status. The second one is, are there any alternative sources of security similar to the guarantee which are of an off-balance sheet nature?
Thank you, CEO, and probably CFO if help is required there.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of the effect of an SEP, it is expected that on conclusion of a successful SEP into the asset, our proportion of this guarantee will effectively decline to the amount at which Zccm Ih will be diluted in the asset.
In terms of alternatives, unfortunately, because all the securities at MCM are held by Glencore at this point in time, there are no alternatives. Thank you.
Mr. Matoka, I hope those answers are adequate to you.
Yes, Chair, for the time being, we will consider them adequate. And I therefore wish to propose that we approve the recommendation.
Thank you. I invite Ms. Nakapoko Nalungwe to second the resolution. Okay, that seconded. I now put the resolutions to the meeting and open the voting for 10 minutes. Kindly proceed to vote. I understand that at this point in time, COPSAVE will provide guidance on how the electronic voting system will operate.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to you, shareholders. I'll walk you through the key voting processes that we need to observe in this meeting. So allow me to first address our shareholders who have joined virtually. So for those shareholders who have joined virtually, immediately you log into the electronic platform, you'll be greeted by an electronic ballot, which you see to your extreme right. So on that ballot, you will find 8 resolutions that are being tabled before this meeting. There are 3 choices against each resolution, that is for, abstain, and against. So you will go right ahead and click the desired result. There will be a prompt message. Then the moment you click it, it means your vote has been submitted. So you do this process to all the resolutions that are showing there. Just for clarity, you would notice that depending on the gadget that you are using, you may see a few resolutions, but there is a scroll tab. Remember to just scroll down so that you can review all the 8 resolutions. So go right ahead and vote. In case you might have closed the browser, there is a link that is being posted in the chat, so you can go right ahead and click that link. It will take you again to that ballot. So now I'll address those that have joined physically here. As you are walking in, you registered through our electronic voting system, and you were presented with a tablet to exercise your vote. So those that may have not done this process, our registration team is available to assist you. So you can just raise your hand, and our team will come through to you to assist you in terms of how that process goes. So this is just the entire process in terms of the voting. I thank you.
I would like to read out the results of each resolution. We now have the results. So the first resolution was the adoption and approval of the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the directors and the auditors. Voting for, we have 99.96% voting for. Therefore, the resolution has passed. The second resolution is the adoption and approval of the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2022, together with the reports of the directors and the auditors. For, it's 99.96%. So the resolution has passed. Resolution 3 is the approval of the final dividend of 2 kwacha 9 ngwe per share, recommended by the directors. This was voted for by 99.99%. The fourth resolution is the approval of the final dividend of 2 kwacha 41 ngwe per share recommended by the directors. This was voted for by 99.99%, so it's carried. The fifth resolution is the approval of the external auditors for the year ended 31st December 2022. This was voted for by 99.99%, so that's carried. The sixth resolution is the approval of the external auditors for the financial year ending 31st December 2023. This was voted for by 99.99%, so the resolution is carried. The resolution number 7 is the confirmation of appointment of non-executive directors. This was voted for by 99.95%, so the resolution is carried. The last resolution, number 8, is the approval for the company to issue corporate guarantees to support group capital requirements up to a maximum total amount of $200 million. This has been voted for by 99.43%. So the resolution has passed. Thank you very much. We now come to agenda item number 11, which is any other business. We have received some questions from shareholders ahead of the AGM. Before we invite members to submit further questions, I request the CEO to address these questions accordingly.
The first one from Mr. Thierry Charles. On behalf of other shareholders, the question is, Zccm Ih management must realize that having a majority in the assets must be a priority. Being a minority shareholder has been and will always be a disaster. All that happened with Kansanshi Mining PLC and FQM is proof of that. Is majority ownership finally a priority for management of Zccm Ih? And is it a condition sine qua non of Rothschild mandate to find a strategic equity partner for Mopani?
Thank you very much. Zccm Ih will pursue as much as possible to have significant interest in new investment projects. The shareholding will be dependent on the cash expenditures required on the new projects and the extent to which Zccm can fund new investment projects. The strategic plan is skewed towards having significant interests and will be dependent on Zccm Ih's financial capacity to handle specific assets.
The next question again is from Mr. Thierry Charles. The question is, in the 2021 circular to shareholders concerning the takeover of Mopani Copper Mines on page 157, it was stated, and I quote, assuming current copper prices are maintained, it is forecast that the company will generate sufficient cash inflows to finance capital expenditure internally. The average expected copper price average was $7,000 as cited on page 155. The shareholders have been shamefully misled, as purported by Mr. Thierry Charles. Indeed, despite a copper price well above $7,000, Mopani Copper Mines is having great difficulty paying subcontractors, suppliers, and CEC. Who is responsible for this deception? Glencore or the Zccm Ih management? Have those responsible been sanctioned? An arbitration launched? If not, why and when?
The projections were based on judgments using the information provided by Mopani Copper Mines management, and the circular had clear provisions. The circular clearly indicated that it was a forward-looking statement and that these forward-looking statements involve known and unknown risks, uncertainties, and other factors that may have caused Zccm Ih's actual results, performance, or achievements to differ materially from the anticipated results, performance, or achievements expressed or implied by those forward-looking statements. The circular was approved by the regulators, signifying that all the relevant disclosures had been made in order to assist the shareholders in making decisions
to either support or to not support the transaction.
The next question again from Mr. Thierry Charles says, Zccm Ih acquired 90% of Mopani copper mines for $1.5 billion on 31st March 2021. This asset is valued at $825 million by the auditors in the 2021 balance sheet. Unsurprisingly, the buyout was well overpaid by the former management and the PF government. Is the current management negotiating with Glencore to reduce the outrageous and dubious price? This value must be renegotiated before any discussions are held with the various strategic equity partners, candidates. Otherwise, Zccm Ih will inevitably be harmed.
The price as presented to the shareholders was for $1 as indicated in the resolution to the shareholders. The $1.5 billion is a legacy liability which was negotiated and written down from over $4.3 billion. The entire Mopani deal will be reset, and at the moment we are unable to give all the details in public as the negotiations are still underway.
The next question is from Mr. Sylvan Blomer, a shareholder on Euronext. The question is, why are the people responsible for Mopani disaster not being legally prosecuted?
The prosecution of perceived crimes is the responsibility of the state prosecuting authorities.
Another question from Mr. Sylvan Blomer. How can Zccm Ih explain the Mopani disaster?
A key challenge faced by Mopani Copper Mine post-acquisition has been its lack of adequate working capital. Zccm Ih is actively working with Mopani management and Glencore to keep the company afloat before the finalization of the SCP process. Once this process is completed, the liquidity challenges should be resolved. Furthermore, the future of Mopani lies in the expansion project, which will need capital expenditure, which will be addressed once the SCP process is finalized.
The next set of questions are regarding Kansanshi Mining PLC, and the question from Mr. Thierry Charles, a shareholder on Euronext, says, why did the management of Zccm Ih mislead the minority shareholders by claiming that they could consult the documents available for inspection concerning the royalties deal online when they could not? If everything is honest and fair, why is the board refusing to remedy its serious shortcoming by allowing minority shareholders to consult the documents now?
The circular to the shareholders was prepared with adequate information for any shareholder to understand the nature of the transaction. The circular also contained an opinion from independent auditors to give comfort to the shareholders. The salient features of the transaction were included on page 14 of the circular. Furthermore, management made a presentation explaining the details of the transaction. The same information was made available on the company website. Regarding the inspection of the documents, the company did not make any provision for the physical inspection of records for shareholders outside Zambia. This was an unfortunate event which we will not allow to happen again in the future.
The next question again from Mr. Thierry Charles reads, on 6 October 2022, the Zambia Business Times denounced the pollution of air and water for many years, particularly in Ngambe and Mbonge village in Solwezi district of Northwestern Province, due to the Kansanshi mining operation run by First Quantum. The newspaper also denounced the laxity of government and local authorities. Is the Zccm Ih board aware of the continuous poisoning of local people around the mine? If not, we ask the directors of the board to take all necessary measures and proceedings to stop this infamous poisoning as soon as possible and put First Quantum Minerals back on the right tracks, Zccm Ih being always a shareholder of Kansanshi Mining PLC.
Zccm Ih, as a shareholder in Kansanshi Mining PLC, will continue providing the necessary checks and balances, having board representation. The Zccm Ih board takes its ESG concerns seriously.
Another question regarding Kansanshi mining. As, I beg your pardon, from Mr. Thierry, as regards Vedanta. As Vedanta always tried to fool us, I think this question was posted regarding the restart of KCM in the earlier questions that were posed during the Q&A. I'll move on to the next question from Mr. Thierry Clamp, another shareholder on Euronext, and the question reads, given the track record with Vedanta, is there a royalty system plan for KCM to replace the dividends not paid by Vedanta despite record profits?
Zccm will continue pursuing its strategic plans and its initiatives on alternative revenue streams such as royalties. We have engaged and are engaging all our partners to ensure that we extract value from our portfolio. The starting point for Vedanta is the research in our relationships through the ongoing consultations and negotiations so that we can then pursue other options in the future, including royalty streams.
Another question from Mr. Thierry Charles with regards to KCM. On 12th September 2023, Vedanta chairman Anil Agawa said Vedanta acquired KCM in 2004 and made good profits when global copper prices were only $4,000. Now global prices are around $8,500 and technologies are much superior, so profitability will be much higher. On 22 March 2014, Mr. Agawa already stated about KCM, it's been 9 years since we've owned the company, and since then, every year, it's given us a minimum of $500 million plus $1 billion. Every year, it has been continuously giving back. Yet KCM has officially been in dire straits for a number of years and is now in liquidation. How can this blatant antagonism be explained? Former Mines Minister Yaluma said he had launched forensic audits through Zccm Ih Agm. Richard Musuka subsequently described Vedanta as criminals. What are the main findings of these forensic audits?
The forensic audit was commenced but was not completed as the decision to divorce with Vedanta was made, which ultimately led to the commencement of the winding up proceedings in the High Court.
The next question with regards to KCM again. In recent weeks, a pre-agreement between Vedanta, Zccm Ih and GRZ has been mooted concerning KCM. Certain clauses have been disclosed. 1 billion investment in KCM development, 250 million payment to all local creditors, $20 million investment into the local community, CSR, every year through a special purpose vehicle, a community trust, 20% increase in salaries for employees, one-off 2,500 kwacha payment to all employees. Yet Vedanta is in a very delicate financial situation. Have you considered that Vedanta is fooling us once again? And if so, is there a clause providing for severe sanctions, withdrawal of the license, and or very huge financial penalties to avoid another disaster? If Vedanta's intentions are honest, this clause will pose no problem.
There are safeguards provided, and the detailed provisions in the agreements will be disclosed once the agreements have been finalized and signed by both parties.
The next set of questions, again from Mr. Thierry Charles on behalf of other shareholders on Euronext regarding Limestone Resources Limited. The first question reads, Zccm Ih lost more than $120 million at Ndola Lime. Now the direction is considering reinvesting in this lame duck rebranded Limestone Resources. Don't you think that the total lack of competency of Zccm management in this matter has been clearly highlighted, and that the mismanagement has gone on long enough?
The observation is well noted. Zccm Ih will work with inputs from various external and independent consultants to avoid a repeat of what has transpired. This will involve a detailed market analysis, a review of the business model, as well as the involvement of other technical specialists. With Zambia aiming to triple its annual copper production, there is a case for the potential increased uptake of limestone by the copper mining industry.
Another question on 22 November 2021, the Zambian whistleblower reported on social networks that former CEO Mavuto Chipata had concealed an audit report on Dollar Line that highlighted the misappropriations and named those responsible. The shareholders are calling on the board to launch a full investigation into this major scandal and to initiate legal proceedings to punish those responsible.
To the best of the knowledge of the board, no audit report was withheld, as all audit plans were executed and the reports were presented to the appropriate governance bodies, and appropriate action was taken.
The next set of questions from Mr. Terry Charles on behalf of other shareholders on Euronext are regarding Zambia Gold Company, and the first question reads, since 2021, Zccm Ih's Kasenseli mining license has been suspended for unjustified reasons by Minister of Mines Kabuswe. The minority shareholders should not have to suffer the misguided actions of the government. Does the government plan to compensate Zccm Ih for the loss of revenue and money it has needlessly sunk in this project? If not, are there any plans to take legal action against GRZ? Otherwise, why not?
The license was suspended for breaches of certain of the regulations and can only be reinstated once remedial works have been done. Zccm Ih is still in talks with other key stakeholders in the project to allow for the remedial works to be undertaken. Considering the suspension is pursuant to the provisions of the law, it will not be possible to take a legal action against the government.
The next question, rumors of illegal mining by soldiers guarding the Kasenseli mine have been reported in the press and social networks. The government would be also implicated. Has Zccm Ih protected the rights to its mining license and carried out investigations other than those carried out by the military and government?
The security is currently being provided by government security wings around Kasenseli mine operations.
The next question is with regards with Mamba and ZESCO. An agreement between ZESCO and Mamba Collieries Limited has been reached to repay $518 million shortly. Has Zccm Ih entered into discussions with Mamba Collieries and Nava Bharat to plan the repayment of its various loans?
Zccm Ih has been in discussions with both Mamba and Nava Bharat to explore the recoverability of its loans. All these parties have further arranged a meeting with the senior lenders to allow for some benefits to flow to Zccm Ih once Mamba comes up to date with the senior lenders. Then the subordinated lenders will start making collections.
The next question is from Mr. Sylvan Blomer, and it reads, why have you still not sold or liquidated assets that are not mineral or electricity production related?
Zccm Ih is divesting from these non-core assets, as indicated in the presentation earlier. The divestment processes have already been initiated and are in different stages.
The next question is from Mr. Terry Charles. On the date of the 2022 AGM, what is the detailed amount of all the guarantees held by Zccm Ih for each of its assets?
The guarantees held by Zccm Ih were totaling $1.55 billion, of which $1.5 billion is in favor of Glencore, as disclosed in the 2022 financial statements under Note 23 on the acquisition of subsidiary, which is on page 104, and $10 million in favor of Zanaco, as indicated in Note 40 on page 148, on contingent liabilities in the 2022 financial statements.
Another question from Mr. Terry Charles. According to the press reports in recent months, Zccm Ih only holds 20% of the Lubambe extension alongside cobalt metals. What concrete and real safeguards have been put in place to avoid being cheated, as has been the case every time since the transformation of Zccm into Zccm Ih over 20 years ago? The strategic plan now requires a minimum 35% shareholding. Why is the strategic plan not being respected?
The transaction relates to a legacy asset in which Zccm Ih had a 20% shareholding, and this has been carried through as per the existing arrangement. As indicated earlier, Zccm Ih will target higher percentages in shareholdings in new and future ventures.
Another question from Mr. Thierry Charles reads, following our request to the chairperson of the Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate the Mopani takeover on 6 June 2022, he replied that our request would be studied by the Commission. In a press release in October 2022, the SEC referred to corruption by Glencoe towards the PF. Did the SEC interview any Zccm Ih employees?
No Zccm Ih employees were interviewed to our knowledge.
Another question from Mr. Thierry Charles reads, Minister of Mines Paul Kabuswe appears in the media on various current issues, and each time his deadline are far-fetched. Has the Zccm Ih board intervened with the minister to remind him that he's not the spokesperson of the Zccm Ih and that his interventions are very damaging to Zccm Ih's image?
Zccm Ih will continue to engage all the major stakeholders on how to deal with matters of this nature.
Another question from Mr. Thierry Charles reads, the departure of former CEO Mavuto Chipata was by mutual agreement, according to the official announcement. We have learned that legal counsel Yadika Mkandawire has been replaced without any reasons being given. The minority shareholders were satisfied with all the legal guidance and procedures carried out under her leadership. If her departure was not voluntary, what were the precise reasons that led the board and the CEO not to renew her contract? After the departure of former company secretary Chabi Chabala and the resignation of former chairperson Dolika Banda, the minority shareholders are wondering about these departures and continuing terminations, which will inevitably be detrimental to the company.
In general, these are contractual matters between the respective employees and the company. Shareholders are assured that the board will continue to act in the best interests of the company at all times.
The last question from Mr. Thierry Charles reads, what is the annual salary for the new CEO of Zccm Ih?
Details of the remuneration of the CEO and non-executive and executive directors is contained in the notes to the accounts on page 142 of the 2022 financial statements. Information about the 2023 director remuneration will be provided in the 2023 financial statements.
That's the end of the questions, list of questions.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to invite members who have any other questions to go ahead and pose those questions.
I'm based in Lusaka. My name is Richard Sikazwe again. I wanted to find out, last time we heard a statement by the Minister of Mines that both KCM and Mopani were supposed to be taken over by, or maybe recapitalized. So for KCM it has happened, and it's a good move. We are grateful for that, but I want to find out from you on Mopani, with the $200 million that we've just approved today, are we seeing that happening again in the next AGM because we haven't found an equity partner for that? Or how are the negotiations proceeding towards Mopani so that can be closed as well? Thank you.
Thank you very much. With Mopani Copper Mines, the process is well advanced. As mentioned earlier in the presentation on the strategic outlook, there are 5 potential partners that have been shortlisted and have been evaluated across a range of criteria. Final evaluations are being made at this point in time, and we anticipate that an equity partner will be identified for this entity by the end of this year at the latest.
My name is Peter Kazwala. I'm a shareholder from Chingola. Maybe I might not have probably read the reports properly, but you can guide me there. I'm trying to find out all this financing which is being done to salvage the subsidiaries and investee companies. Is the money recoverable? Maybe it should be in a form of a loan or of some kind like that.
Thank you very much. These financings to the companies are with set agreements between Zccm Ih and the subsidiaries. So they are coming in a particular form where their equity return expectations for the return of these monies. To ensure the success of these operations, we are furthermore taking further steps to be actively involved in the execution and the formulation of plans to return these companies to profitability.
I don't see any hands up. What about online? Do we have any further questions being posed?
Chair, there's just 2 questions regarding Mopani. And yeah, just Mopani. Mopani is losing a lot of money, as the recent half-yearly figures show. Since the acquisition of Mopani and up to now, how much have these abysmal losses amounted to, and who will pay for them?
Thank you very much. The losses have been detailed in the annual financial statements, and we have indicated in this presentation that at present, Mopani is losing about $31 million a month, which equates to about $1 million a day. Ultimately, Zccm Ih is the owner at this stage of Mopani, and on the introduction of a strategic equity partner, the shareholding, and therefore the benefits as well as the losses will be shared with the strategic equity partner going forward.
That's all, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. There being no other business for the meeting, I thank members for their contribution and the directors and management for their attendance. I declare the 19th Annual General Meeting of the company closed, and thank you all for coming.